So it's called "We Were Raised by Women Who Hated Men." At mode. It's by Dad Mode and Dark Mode. See what he has to say.
Let me say something that's going to make a lot of people uncomfortable. And by a lot of people, I mean women. So a lot of us men, if not all of us here in the West, were raised by women. But we were raised by women who didn't actually like men. And now I don't mean just your mom, right? I mean the entire ecosystem. Moms, teachers, counselors, therapists, daycare workers, church staff, you name it, we were told by those same women to grow up and be a gentleman, to be kind and respectful and protective and safe. We heard that a lot. But there's a caveat with that. It was you were never to be too assertive, right? Never too confident or too masculine. In other words, be the thing they hated, just behave better. Let me repeat that. Be the thing they hated, just behave better. I mean, of course, the first woman who ever loved you, it wasn't your girlfriend or a crush. It was your mom. Or maybe she didn't love you. I don't know. So, I mean, because those exist. So, especially the ones that really hate dudes. Um, but yeah, I mean, let's say, your dad was either gone, he was weak, he was abusive, or, disrespected in the home. I mean, that love came with strings. So, and those strings are that men are dangerous, right? They're selfish. They are the problem. And you may have heard, don't be like your father.
Yeah, you definitely internalize those things. That's for sure. One way or another, if there's that dynamic to it, you internalize these things.
You didn't just learn that love had conditions. No, you learned that you, as a boy, were guilty until proven safe. This wasn't love, not at all. It was early stage programming. That's what you experienced, and it taught you to be ashamed of your masculinity and to be ashamed of it before you even understood what it was. We were told to control our emotions. You were told, hey, control your emotions, control them, but you weren't taught how.
Yep.
You were
Yep.
taught to simply suppress them, especially anger. Never let that cat out of the bag.
This is a conversation I've had with my mother countless of times. Literally, her best advice is just be better, just do better. And I go, okay. I take out my notepad. Ironically, I take out my notepad. I'm just like, go ahead, point by point, tell me what it is. Obviously, there's nothing that she mentions, but that is essentially the problem when it comes to women trying to help men. They don't have the psychic instruments.
Mm. You were told to respect women, but not to respect yourself when a woman disrespected you. You were told to be kind and be gentle, but you weren't taught how to say no without fear of rejection or punishment. Plain and simple, you were not raised to be a man. We were not raised to be men in this country, in this culture. We were raised to be safe for women, to be safe for women. And if you stepped outside those lines, you got hit with the ultimate insult. Possibly. You're acting just like your father,
You get excommunicated from HR at work and from scaring the ladies at church.
right? You heard that one before? You're acting just like your father. But let's talk about numbers here. Let's talk about, school for a second. Over 76% of K through 12 teachers in the US are women. In early education, it's over 90%. From the moment you step into a classroom, you are placed in a behavioral system designed by women, for girls.
Yep. Yep.
boys aren't just outnumbered, they're outcultured. You're expected to, sit still for hours, use your inside voice, never interrupt, no, never talk back, never challenge authority, always be obedient. But what's actually happening is that normal male behavior is being pathologized. Yeah, if you're I've heard this one when I was 9. You're too energetic, you have ADHD. My ninth grade teacher, Mrs. Tinsley, thought I had ADHD because in the middle of social studies I learned how to do this and was super excited about it and kept doing it. So, and I didn't have ADHD.
Dork.
I'm just the doctor said no, he's just a 9-year-old. So hats off to that doctor. But yeah, I mean, you're assertive. That means you're aggressive. If you disagree, that means you're oppositional. And if you're fidgety, then you're disruptive, right? And what happens to boys in this system? They adapt by shrinking. I've talked about this. They or they
Yeah.
rebel and get punished for it. Either way, the message is clear. Boys, your nature is a problem. By the time you hit adolescence, your default mode is appeasement.
And you get run through, bro. You get destroyed because everyone takes advantage of you.
Say sorry when she's upset. Do whatever makes her comfortable. Never raise your voice. Never assert your needs. Never take up too much space. Don't be manspreading now. You're not operating from strength. You're performing for approval, because deep down the programming says if you're good enough, she won't leave, and if you're soft enough, you'll be safe, right? That's not love. That's fear-based compliance, just dressed up as virtue. The same women who instilled this fear told you to be a gentleman, right? Ironically enough.
To be fair, they didn't see the culture change. So they're just giving us their best advice. It's just too bad they don't make them like they used to. So what are we gonna do?
Hold the door, pay for my meal, protect her, listen without speaking, sacrifice your needs. And then in return, disrespect when you set a boundary, accusations when you assert yourself, emotional manipulation when you withdraw, and rejection when you stop playing nice.
Yeah.
See, it was never about mutual respect. It was about behavioral compliance. Okay. You don't get applauded for being a good man. You get used. You get used and abused until you stop performing.
And then even then you get ridiculed for that.
And we talk about feminism like it's somehow confined to just college or social media. But its more formative influence happens at home. It happens in the home. Single moms projecting their unresolved anger at men onto their sons. Married women belittling their husbands in front of their kids.
And to be fair, at some point the husband's got to go with some balls. But I've got I got a hot take for another video. I'm gonna leave the link in the description below if you want to watch the rest of this. But I think you kind of get the point with just this. But I got a hot take. Let me know what you think. I think a weak father is you're worse off with a weak father than no father at all. I know that's probably gonna ruffle some feathers, but let me know what you think, because I think when you have a weak father present in your life, you start to emulate, behave like that. You look up to those behavioral aspects that he's presenting to you. But at least with no father, I think that you can at least get some sort of proxy father image going with someone else you would consider a mentor or like something of that nature. But a weak father, I think, does more damage than no father. Let me know what you think. I know it's a hot take, but I'll make a video of it soon.